Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Monday, October 13th, 2025. My dear friend Larry Johnson joins us now. Larry, I do want to talk to you about some of the research you've been doing on Trump and China. But before we get there, what is your take on the events in Tel Aviv earlier today?
Deja vu all over again. Let's recall back in January 15th, there was a ceasefire declared, and it was credited to who? Donald John Trump. That, oh man, this is amazing. Look, Trump's brokered a ceasefire. And it led to hostage release and prisoner release. And we saw the same kind of pictures we're seeing today. Oh, the joy and the happy reunions. And it's terrific. And then Israel started violating that ceasefire. And Hamas said, well, then we're not releasing any more of the prisoners. The prisoners that were released today, I think they were all former, they were all Israeli military who had served, who were active duty soldiers. So I really don't put them in the same category as hostages. They are prisoners of war because war uniforms carried guns. Sorry, that's a fair fight. Grabbing a civilian is a whole different matter. So we're left in the same position that you've got all these poorly defined future steps. Is Hamas going to disarm? I don't think so. And it's not just Hamas. Again, the entire Western narrative, this is theater. They fail to understand that there are 14 different Palestinian groups. Hamas clearly is the largest and most influential, but you have Palestinian Islamic Jihad. You have the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the PFLP, the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine. There's even Abu Nidal. So each of those groups have some military capability as well. And so coming up with a comprehensive solution that includes the Palestinians, but it's like, we're going to see this kabuki theater in a little bit at the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit. Except my understanding is Netanyahu's not going to be there. Hamas isn't going to be there. So the people who are actually engaged in the fighting, they're not at that discussion. And so that's like, that's like you trying to broker, you got a couple that wants a divorce, but you're going to meet with all of their friends and neighbors, but you're not going to meet with them. You're going to have no influence on that process.
Wow. I want you to take a look at the release of one of them who actually kissed his Hamas protectors. Max Blumenthal arguing that these Hamas fighters are probably the people that saved this guy's life from Israeli attacks. Watch this.
Year 49. Yes, we continue with you. A total of 24 prisoners have been successfully handed over, and importantly, they all remain alive and well. One prisoner remains, bringing the total to 25. It is expected that the process of handing over the bodies of 4 Israelis will also be completed in the coming days.
This clip is being banned by the IDF. They don't want the Israeli public to see this.
Well, let's remember early on, within the first 8 months, following the October 7th raid by Hamas, you had 3 Israeli soldiers who had been captured, who got free, who came out waving white shirts, trying to get over to the Israeli lines, and the Israelis killed them. They shot them. They were unarmed. They posed no threat. So, again, you find that despite the efforts of the West to portray Hamas as these great beasts, these awful terrorists, these people that behead children, those are all Zionist lies. It was just the opposite. You find that these Palestinians exhibit a level of professionalism that is frankly not found among the Israelis. And I tell you, this goes back. So, 35 years ago, when I was the deputy director over the Anti-Terrorism Assistance Training Program, we were providing training at that time to both Israeli police as well as to Palestinian police. And our trainers would always come back and comment that the Israelis were a clown show, but that the Palestinians were highly professional. They paid attention and demonstrated a level of skill. And it looks like that hasn't changed over the years.
Wow. So Netanyahu is claiming this is a great victory for the Israeli public. He has yet to defeat the Palestinians. He has severely damaged Israel politically, culturally, economically, diplomatically. And now the whole world, even the United States public, questions the moral basis for the Zionist apartheid state. How the hell can he claim this is a victory?
Well, probably the same way Custer could claim that he won that last stand. Okay, this is perhaps a classic example of a Pyrrhic victory. The fact that after 2 years, Israel, with every military advantage, was unable not only to defeat Hamas and to eliminate them as a military threat, but was unable to rescue the hostages. And, frankly, they had an entire area surrounded, both from the sea and from land. I mean, Hamas was in a position where they didn't have ready access to supplies, for God's sake. And yet they persisted.
How did they get weapons? How did they get rounds of ammunition?
Yeah, I don't know if it was stockpiled in advance or if I'm sure they had some smuggling networks. And, there were tunnels, I'm sure, that go that go from Egypt into Gaza. And that may have been one of the access points. But I mean, it illustrates that after 2 years, Israel could not defeat Hamas. Just like, the United States couldn't defeat the Houthis.
Right.
But
Right.
But it's the same kind of thing. You remember Donald Trump claimed, okay, they capitulated, we win, we're going home. That's what Netanyahu's doing right now. But I don't think that Netanyahu and crowd have any intent whatsoever to put away their bombs and to stop killing Palestinian women and children. That's going to renew.
I've been playing this all morning, but it's priceless. Here's one war criminal asking a second war criminal publicly to pardon a third war criminal. Chris, cut number 12.
Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Come on. By the way, that was not in the speech, as you probably know. But I happen to like this gentleman right over here, and it just seems to make so much sense. Whether we like it or not, this has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. This has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. And cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that?
Well, it's $139,000 worth of cigars and champagnes. His wife has already pleaded guilty to it. And of course, Netanyahu is not the president. He's the prime minister. The person from whom Trump was asking the pardon is the president of Israel.
Right. Herzog.
This is comedic. It's comical.
Well, it's just a reminder that Donald Trump does not believe in rule of law. He believes in the rule of cronies, friends, and family. And that, that's sort of how organized crime operates. It's really sad that, Netanyahu has committed horrendous crimes against the Palestinian people and aided and abetted by Donald Trump. And so it's a stain on America.
Here's
one it's not, we're going to easily erase.
Here's Trump confirming that he was an active partner in that.
We have to do what we have to do. We make the best weapons in the world, and we've got a lot of them. And we've given a lot to Israel, frankly. And I mean, Bibi would call me so many times, can you get me this weapon, that weapon, that weapon? Some of them I never heard of, Bibi, and I made them. But we'd get them here, wouldn't we? Huh? And they are the best. They are the best. But you used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them. And you obviously used them very well.
Could a human being, the head of the United States federal government, praise the use of American weapons to put bullets into the heads of Palestinian babies?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, this is, America is a collaborator in genocide, unfortunately. We've aided and abetted this action. And look, I wish that what we were looking at was a genuine peace process, that this would bring an end to the fighting between the Palestinians and the Zionists. But the Zionists are not going to give up. The Zionists do have no room to allow the Palestinians to exist anywhere in what they're calling Judea, the Zionists refer to as Judea and Samaria. So this is the fighting will renew. Even while they're releasing all these hostages, you still got Israeli military operations taking place, or at least overseeing settlers in the West Bank, Zionist settlers who are attacking Palestinians, destroying their properties, destroying their homes, killing them at times, ripping up olive trees. That's still going on. So until you get an actual rule of law where Israel will keep its damn hands to itself, this will continue.
I got to show you one more. This is Trump praising the Mossad's wealthiest asset, cut number 11.
She's got 60 billion in the bank, 60 billion. And I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it, and they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He was a very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, Sheldon, I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in, we would do. But they were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel. Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say.
How can that possibly be something to boast about?
Yeah, well, this is why Trump's base is so damaged right now, with the abandoning America first, putting Israel first and foremost over all things American, and that is what frankly, Charlie Kirk came to that realization, and there certainly is a lot of circumstantial evidence to suggest that the Zionists had a strong motive to see Charlie Kirk's life ended. That's not some fantasy. The fact that Charlie Kirk announced 2 days before he was murdered that the pro-Israel position of Turning Point USA was over, and then Candace Owens claims that she's got actual text messages from the following day where Charlie was expressing concern that he was going to be killed. So. And yet here's a shameful performance by Donald Trump to stand before this Israeli legislative body and just suck up to him. But he knows where the money comes from. That's who owns him.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed this, and we won't play it again, but seated right in front of her and looking at her admiringly and fawningly was the person that Max Blumenthal calls Mossad's copy boy, Mossad's stenographer. He happens to be the head of the CIA.
Oh, was John Ratcliffe there?
Yes, right there, right in front
Yeah.
of her, looking up like he was,
Yeah.
admiring her, as Trump is admiring a human being who is prepared to reject her own country for a criminal apartheid regime with no moral basis.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I give them credit. At least they understand what it means to be loyal and loyal to a cause. But, that's what, if you're an American citizen, support America first. You don't put the interests of the other country above your own.
How damaging to the American economy has Trump's threats to impose a 100% tariff on everything coming here from China been?
Yeah, it's in terms of the actual effect on the economy, I don't think it's going to be that great as far as it's not like the volume of trade is that significant to either economy. However, the items that are in dispute, the items that China produces that we need are significantly beyond anything that the United States produces that China needs. Up until this year, maybe you're going back last year, 2 years ago, China was dependent on the United States for exports from the U.S. of helium, of all things. Helium played an important role in the Chinese industrial process. Chinese realized then, hey, we got to break free of this dependence on the United States. And so apparently this year, they're now down to only about 5% reliant on the United States for that helium. That's one of the reasons China is now playing its rare earth card, its magnet card, its pharmaceutical card, because the United States absolutely needs those. Without those key sectors of the defense industry and some in the automobile industry will not be able to operate. They will have to shut down or they'll be significantly delayed. So Trump he keeps saying he's got some other cards to play, like, oh, we're going to stop sending Boeing airplane parts to China because they got all these Boeing airplanes. What do you think China's going to do? China is then going to find out, oh, gee, Airbus, they can buy French airplanes. And just this last week, the Russians previewed or revealed their first domestically produced commercial jetliner that is equivalent to the 737. It made entirely of technology and parts from Russia, not a single foreign component. Well, gee, do you think it's at all possible that Russia and China could collaborate, where Russia would share that technology with the Chinese, and the Chinese just might happen to have an industrial capability to produce those en masse? And all of a sudden now, here's Trump saying, oh, please buy our Boeing aircraft, which actually have a pretty crappy safety record to boot. So, I mean, it's Trump not thinking these things through. I'm really sort of surprised that he's this reckless.
Is it not true that north of 95% of all American antibiotics contain raw minerals from China?
Yeah, from China, and those antibiotics are produced both, I think, in China and India.
Right. So Trump is going to double the price of antibiotics that everybody needs?
Yeah. Yeah, this is we saw this last week that John Deere, they're not producing antibiotics, but they build tractors. And they actually don't build, they assemble them, and they assemble them using parts that are produced in places like China, Mexico, India. But all those parts have now been tariffed. They're more expensive. John Deere's had to raise the prices of tractors. And guess what? They've laid off over 300 workers just last week because they don't have the sales to keep those people fully employed. So, yeah, this has an effect, a negative effect on the American public, and we'll see it showing up in places like Walmart and Costco.
Wow, where people who usually count their nickels shop.
Yes.
So a toaster, instead of costing you $25, will cost 30 or 33.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, a tariff is a tax. Did Congress enact these taxes, Larry?
Yeah. No. And that's one of the issues that's before the courts, is that they can decree that, hey, and I think they already have in a couple of cases that no, this is Trump acting outside of his authority. So the tariff. The whole tariff gambit is proven to be ineffective. Remember, in February, Trump was bragging that all these countries were lining up, and I'm quoting him, to kiss his ass, end quote. Well, I haven't seen a lot of derriere kissing going on.
No, take a look at his former friend, Prime Minister Modi, now a mainstay of the Shanghai Organization and of BRICS. Mainstay.
Yeah. In fact, they're now buying Russian oil using Chinese currency. So they're not even going into the international currency markets to pick up US dollars to make that transaction. So now here you got at least one area. Now it's not massive, but it's a significant move that no longer is the US dollar going to be king.
Wow. Larry Johnson, thank you, my dear friend. A busy day here, and I appreciate your accommodating my schedule. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
All righty. Thank you, Judge.
Sure. All the best. And coming up, still to come, at 1 o'clock, Scott Ritter. At 3:30, Colonel Douglas McGregor. At 4:15, Professor Jeffrey Sachs. Judge Napolitano for Judging Freedom.